Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shah, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rahadash. All praises, honor, glory, love, respect, faith, and power, and trust, and all credit to my Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and my Heavenly Big Brother, Yahweh Shah. Thank you so much for what you've done, what you're doing, and what you're going to do. Double honors to your apostles and elders and bishops of GMS, Great Millstone, who I learned from, and all the men scattered all over the world, teaching this truth and none but the truth in the name, spirit, and the power of Yahweh by Shema Shah. Trying to put a spiritual bug in you Hebrew Israelites' ears, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, and you speckled birds. And what is a speckled bird? That'd be a Hebrew Israelite that look like some of the heathen nations, like, for example, a Hebrew Israelite that look like a so-called white person, so-called Chinese person, etc., etc. Got some videos lined up on news that's going on all over the world, most of it in America, but related to financial issues. Man, yeah, financial woes going on all over the world, and most of it in America. Most of the videos I have is about America. But anyway, I'm going to play these videos. I'm going to get into the scripture my best ability, say whatever God say through spirit and power, Yahweh Shema Shah, the Holy Spirit, the Karahak, Kadash, Lord, will it be on me. Let's get it.
This is Jakarta's Tempe village. In this small community, more than 70 households are involved in the production of tempe, a staple ingredient made by fermenting soybeans. It's a process these tempe producers have mastered through decades of experience. Yet a new challenge is making life harder as Indonesia's currency continues to depreciate against the US dollar, sinking to record lows.
It's not only that soybeans have become more expensive, but the prices of plastic and other materials too.
Pliskon says he used to buy 80 kilograms of soybeans each day, but now because of rising prices, he's only able to buy 50 kilograms. The rupiah slid to record lows in recent weeks, despite interventions by the central bank. The depreciation is in part due to market pressure created by the surge in global oil prices. But even before the Iran war, the rupiah was already declining due to domestic factors, including government spending on projects like the free meal program, as well as investor concerns about market transparency.
I'm now focusing on making sure that domestic economy will continue to grow strong in the midterm, in the near term, and in the longer term.
The Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry notes the weakening rupiah has increased the costs of fertilizer, animal feed, and imported raw materials such as soybeans. The price of imported soybeans has climbed by 10% in the past 2 weeks. 100 kilograms of soybeans now costs about $60. Imported soybeans, mostly from the US, make up almost 90% of national demand.
For many Indonesians, tempeh is a staple food. It's cheaper than meat, high in protein and fiber, and can be prepared in a variety of different ways. But as the price of soybeans continues...
Fuck that shit. You don't supposed to eat that crap. But they put it in your food. Shit.
to increase, small business owners say they must find ways to adapt.
For Karyu, who's been selling fresh tempeh for more than 30 years, that means making some tough decisions. She's making thinner slices of tempeh than usual while selling them for the same price.
We also have workers and operational costs. What else can we do? We have to make it work. But honestly, it's very difficult.
Karyu says she's resisting raising prices, fearing that customers won't be able to afford it. But she worries that as the rupiah continues to weaken and imported goods keep getting more expensive, her business may struggle to survive. Jessica Washington, Al Jazeera, Jakarta.
Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we are discussing issues associated with, well, banking in Thailand and whether or not Thais are actually being affected by this as well. I initially thought of making this video after reading a recent email from a viewer, quoting directly, I thought you might be interested in this thread on X about Thai people having their bank accounts frozen. Quoting further, and they send us to the thread, and I'll go ahead and quote that in a minute too, but hold on. It happens when a person wins an online lottery and gets paid by quote-unquote mule accounts, which results in their own bank account getting frozen. I thought all of this banking scrutiny was just to protect elderly Thais from being scammed. Notice the possible repercussions for a Thai. No government welfare, losing future benefits, getting banned from all of the banks. But what about other things in the future, like purchasing cannabis online? A bank account freeze is a draconian punishment. Expats need to be a lot more careful about quote-unquote scams. This effort is not just about scammers or people who set up mule accounts. Please keep me anonymous. I live in Thailand. Enjoy your channel and keep up the good work. Yeah, well, we'll keep you anonymous. Tip of the hat to you. Let's go over here to X, and this is on the handle at Scopy_no on X. Quoting directly, and this is in English, it's actually translated over. I gotta hand it to them. People playing the lottery through online sites, if they win, they get the money transferred from mule accounts, like they're not even afraid of the funds getting frozen. What the hell drives them to take such a huge risk? Getting frozen isn't a game. You might end up banned from every bank, cut off from government welfare, losing all future rights and benefits. Even your salary would have to be paid in cash. Yeah, all right, fair enough. I gotta be honest with you, I don't really think that the specter of Thais, playing online gambling and receiving money is enough to justify shutting down our accounts. Debanking people, causing people to be...
Yeah. Especially if anyway, I was gonna say, especially if you be saying something that the government don't like and all that shit,
unable to just live their lives. This is totalitarianism.
And you can't gamble, so they find out you gamble, they freeze your account up. Wow.
And it's emanating from the banks. I don't even really, at this point, particularly look to blame policymakers, other than for the short-sightedness of bringing online things like the OECD, which I've discussed in prior videos. The President Trump in the United States, which I disagree with him on a lot of things, he was right about getting rid of OECD. It's a direct threat to national sovereignty, as his memo on the matter discussed.
Anyway.
And we're seeing more and more of this. Now, again, I do get it that, law enforcement wants to do what they do. But, first of all, I always thought the mule account thing just sounded off. So now, okay, they're going after people for online gambling through their banking? Again, it's illegal, I get it, but this is exactly the kind of overreach and constant mission creep, quote unquote, if you will, that comes from these type of initiatives. And what happens next? Because we saw during COVID, breathing outside without a mask was considered illegal. So what can't they make illegal and thereby justify debanking you? That's my problem in all this. And as
let's say you're against AI data centers. They can deem you, if they can say you're a terrorist because you hate AI data centers, or you complain about an AI data center making too much noise, they could probably debank you. Yeah, they could probably debank your ass. Shit, say something. They be like, say something, nigga. I dare ya. I double dare. I triple dare. I quadruple duper super duper looper oompa loompa dare your ass. Say something about my data center. We gonna delete your bank account to -0. Just zero.
Title suggests, I've been
shit. It'll be negative $100,000. You'll be owing us some money for talking shit about our data center. And yeah,
I've been talking about this primarily in the context of foreign nationals and foreigners in Thailand. But my concern is this is eventually going to hit Thais. Thais are eventually going to be, why do Thais need to put up with this? I thought the point of being Thai was that we don't do these kind of things. We don't add all of this useless rigmarole and overreach when we're doing our own private business. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Now, again, I understand if the pretext is, you're engaged in online gambling and we're looking into that, that makes some degree of sense. But it starts one place and it ends up in another. And I'm very concerned, especially as we see the developments in the West, that Thailand will further take a page from the West, when in reality, it should be the other way around. The West should be taking a page from Thailand and continue down this road of increased totalitarianism and scrutiny associated with banking. I don't see who it particularly benefits. Meanwhile, I've still got scammers that pretend to be this firm that I have that I have to make videos about and things to warn people off. Why isn't law enforcement going after them? Aren't those mule accounts?
No, they ain't going after them because they probably got tied in with that shit.
I've sent you the information, the data on these accounts, and meanwhile, nothing seems to happen.
It's probably government. They trying to get a little money on the side doing some illegal shit, like always.
Happen there, but again, people's accounts are getting frozen, all sorts of things. I find it concerning, and I'm very hopeful that this gets rolled back because I don't want to see it detrimentally impact Thais in the future.
That's it for that.
I got one challenge for you. Try Whisper Flow one time, and
Now, fears of rising interest rates collided with worries about artificial intelligence spending on Wall Street on Friday, bringing an abrupt and painful end to weeks of record gains. The Nasdaq Composite marked its worst day in more than a year. The losses intensified after a robust U.S. jobs report raised new worries that the Federal Reserve may need to raise rates this year to fight rising inflation. Global markets are sending a clear signal. The dollar was up 1.2% last week. Now, that strength is hurting risk assets. Bitcoin crashed 17% to $60,959 in a sharp sell-off late in the week. Gold was down over 5% to $4,354 an ounce as investors favor the greenback. Oil, however, held firm, up 0.8% at $92.78 per barrel. The theme from last week was a strong dollar.
I don't care about all this shit. Well, yeah, let me see. Okay, gold. What they say about silver? This is 3 days ago. Yeah, well, it's 3 days ago. I'll just check and see what silver like. Let me just type in JM Bullion. Well, damn, $62.55. Ain't that some bullshit? Last time I checked was like, I guess a couple weeks ago, and it was $80. And gold, $4,000. Man, come on, bro. Anyway, you know they working that shit down. Man, they can't hold on to that dollar too long, bro.
Percent at $92.78 per barrel.
That bitch about to give some. Oh, this. Hold on. Whatever.
The theme from last week was a strong dollar, weak gold, and crypto. The message from markets: risk is off. Now, with major assets covered, let's shift focus to the Asia-Pacific stock markets. Market down 1%.
Okay, I wasn't expecting this video to be talking about this shit. Anyway, let's get to the next one.
And those spiking energy prices sent inflation to a 3-year high in May, up 4.2% annually. The Labor Department said the cost of energy was responsible for over 60% of the increase. Core inflation, which strips out volatile food and energy prices, was up a more modest 2.9%. It comes as renewed fighting in Iran threatens to extend disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz, the crucial energy choke point responsible for transit of roughly a fifth of the world's oil supply. For more, we're joined now by Robin Farzad, host of Public Radio's Full Disclosure. Robin, it's good to see you.
Thank you, Jeff.
So inflation is now running at more than double the Fed's target rate of 2%. What more does today's report tell us?
It's a tough beast to kill, especially when you're trying to pull this off in Iran with the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, you wonder if inflation would have gone down to the Fed's ideal 2% target, the better to cut interest rates if Iran was not engaged, so to speak, this year. But the entire nation saw it. We got in the springtime quite an oil shock. And that obviously percolates down to everything, especially at a time when people were feeling it in food prices. You've seen the misery index numbers, which really don't jive with an economy that's still really buoyant and creating jobs, and interest rates are low and the stock market is giddy. So there's definitely pain and a disconnect and residual misery from the great inflation of 22.
Residual misery. You've got gas is now up $1 per gallon over last year. Electricity prices are up almost 6% from a year ago. Fruit and vegetables are up 6%. Airline fares up 27%. Apparel up 5%. What's causing all of these prices to rise on so many fronts simultaneously?
Well, shit. It's the wicked. And the wicked bear fruit of people. Well, it's the wicked. I was going to say something else too, but I was like, nah, let me stop, because it ain't the right time to even say that. I'm saying when the wicked bear fruit, the people mourn. Well, the people are mourning, but it's the wicked. They raising the prices up. And reason why, to get those chip implants, get people microchip. But ultimately, also another thing too is the plagues of the Lord. So he's punishing you heathens and you 2/3 of Israel. I just pray the Lord have mercy on me. You better do the same thing. Yeah, because these plagues are kicking people's asses financially.
Clearly, energy is an input. If we look at fertilizer, the price of tomatoes, beef, everything that goes into the inputs of soybeans and everything, there was a huge pinch point in the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, you underestimate how vastly interconnected we are in the supply chain. If you go to a Wegmans, a Kroger, in the grocery, in the produce section, I mean, the things that you could take for granted, avocados, year-round mangoes, grapes, produce, all that stuff requires significant free trade, low barriers to trade, constant supplies of low-cost fuel and fertilizer. And when that's pinched, especially after a time of opportunistic inflations where manufacturers, food manufacturers, retailers, car insurance companies, the automakers, they all used 22 and 23 as cloud cover to raise prices. So you're not helping situation by exacerbating fuel and fertilizer, for example.
I want to play you what President Trump said today when he was asked about this report. Take a look.
Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning? Could that be?
No, I love it. The numbers were great. You know what I really love?
Hold on, I couldn't hear the question.
When he was asked about this report.
Oh, let me slow this shit down.
Take a look.
Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning? Could that be?
No, I love it. The numbers were great. You know what
The numbers are great. The numbers are great. Yeah, I love it.
I love it.
Well, a lot of Americans don't love it.
Inflation to come down between now.
Oh, when the war's over?
Yes.
It's coming down.
I know you can't.
It's going to come down like a rock.
It's remarkable to hear any president say, I love the inflation, but the White House argues that this is temporary pain, and when the war is over, so will the inflation woes. Do they have that right?
There was a great pipe dream in January, if you think back to the extraction of Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela and Caracas. It was so easy. We can pull off something like that in Iran. And could you imagine the deluge of easy oil? I mean, just flooding the system. And we have all these refiners that are eagerly going to take it up, driving oil back down to the 30s and 40s. Obviously, it was a lot harder that way. Obviously, they didn't do their homework with Hormuz and how much this would hurt the economy. It's such a fungible commodity. It was almost like a curse what happened with Venezuela so easily. And I remember I was getting calls from people linked to the administration that, do you understand how much this is going to inundate the hemisphere with heavy crude, and our refiners are at the ready to crush the price of gas. So to be seen, and remains to be seen if they could pull that feat off.
And it's not just gas and food prices, also the cost of healthcare. There was a report out today from the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation that found that nearly half of all working age adults struggle to afford healthcare. This was in 2025. And even increasingly those with insurance. I mean, what does all of that suggest?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Affordable Care Act, and this administration has not been in love with it, it hasn't been able to kill it with Congress several times. So at best, it gives it benign neglect. I wouldn't even call it benign. If you're cutting Medicaid options to the states and Medicare, you're giving it just neglect and ignoring it and making signups difficult, and there was a bottleneck, and inflation is still running course, and people are still getting older, and parents are getting older, and kids have various illnesses, and we're coming out of this pandemic. And of course, you're going to see this disconnect. Of course, you're going to see that inflation persist, because it's where demographics and kind of the physics of this economy finally catch up. And that's something that we can't ignore forever. Let's not forget that they were litigating this when Bill Clinton was first elected president, and it's still something that the nation has not solved nearly 40 years later.
And as all of this unfolds, Robin, you've got the Fed set to meet next week under the new Fed chair, Kevin Warsh. What kind of dilemma does all of this present for him as the Fed gets ready to set rates?
You have a president that's more than jawboning him. I mean, he shamed Jerome Powell, his own handpicked man, out of office. You remember the kind of the cringe hard hat scene at the Federal Reserve, like you've cheated, like get out of here. You waited too long to cut. You can't cut into this environment. Inflation has not been snuffed out. And this is the problem. If you're a rules-based Fed and you have the dual mandate of full employment and price stability, prices are not quite stable yet. Unfortunately, Jeff, it's a blunt instrument. If they hike right now, some people at the lowest very end of this, you talk about healthcare, you talk about food inflation, the people who need credit card debt to pay for healthcare, to pay for foods, to pay for their monthly nut, they're going to disproportionately take the hit, where those who've been involved in asset markets, who have an abundance of savings, an abundance of stock and crypto and the like, they're not going to feel it nearly as much. So it brings back that K-shaped economy theme.
Robin Farzad of Public Radio's Full Disclosure. Thanks as always, Robin. Good to see you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Money Metals is offering a silver starter kit to help you get started.
Tracking the economy this morning, a new study finds bankruptcy filings in Tennessee are on the rise. And a recent Chapter 11 filing by a popular Nashville grocer highlights some of the financial challenges that a lot of businesses are facing. News 2's Jaxie Pigeon joins us live from downtown to show us what's happening. Jaxie, good morning.
Good morning, Nikhil. Tennessee continues to rank among the states with the highest bankruptcy filing rates in the country. According to Smart Asset, they found that personal bankruptcy filings in Tennessee rose 6.6% over the past year. That's more than 21,000 filings in the most recent 12-month period study. Tennessee also recorded about 299 filings for every 100,000 residents. Researchers placed Tennessee in the nation's so-called bankruptcy belt alongside several southern states. The American Farm Bureau Federation says farm bankruptcies nationwide climbed to 315 cases last year. Economists say years of declining farm receipts combined with high production costs are adding to financial strain in rural communities. A recent local example is Smoke and Oaks Organic Farms in Nashville. The company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection last month and reported about $3.1 million in liabilities. The company says its farm, market, and operations are continuing as it reorganizes. Smoke and Oaks says the goal is to stay open and emerge from the reorganization process on stronger financial footing. Live in Nashville, Jaxie Pigeon.
Closing up business. Big business, small business, closing up. It's getting bad.
Enrollment in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, formerly known as food stamps, has fallen sharply nationwide since the passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act last summer. There are over 38 million people getting the food assistance, but more than 3.5 million of them have lost access as states are implementing.
I know who's still getting their benefits, and they gonna stay getting them benefits. Them small hat people, they getting benefits 10 plus more. Shit. Even their kids are getting benefits. The unborn, the ones that ain't came out the mama cooch, they're getting benefits too. Shit, yeah. All them niggas getting benefits. Much more and greater than an average American is. Shit. These motherfuckers getting like $10,000 a month. Shit, for doing nothing. I don't know how much they really get, but I know they getting some money. Shit, they cutting all they cut all this just to fund them small, to fund those rats wearing small hats.
a series of new eligibility requirements and stricter processes for applying.
And all this really, too, is to lead to them chip implants. They're stripping people away from all this stuff. And, if you want benefits back again, hey, get the chip implant. Get the mark of the beast. Then you're going to have all your benefits back in your possession. And then once you get the shit, then the East will be like, not. Access denied, bitch. We tricked your ass. Here's a missile for you, or a warhead for you.
Our William Brangham has more on what's happening and the concerns.
That's right, Anna. Last year's Republican centerpiece budget law is projected to cut $186 billion in federal spending on SNAP over the next decade. But it's not only about funding cuts. The new law changed eligibility criteria, like raising the age limit for work requirements from 54 to 64 and increasing the amount of documentation required to enroll. Since then, every state has seen a decline in people enrolled in SNAP, led by Arizona, where participation has fallen by 51%, according to some estimates. And those who are still eligible are receiving much lower benefits and often facing longer reauthorization.
And I'm pretty sure, military people that got family, they be telling the people that, hey, get your family enrolled into these programs, benefit programs, and they get denied. Or I don't know. I mean, I don't know how this shit work. I never been on no SNAP, but shit. And it's bad when you got military people and their families got to get on these government subsidies and shit. Yeah, all the money they supposedly making is not enough to survive in America.
Times. Here's what 27-year-old Presley Nassis told us.
But you know what? You ain't gonna never see no small hatter. You ain't gonna never see them niggas on TV be like, I'm just having a hard time trying to pay the bills. They cut my Medicare off and all this other stuff off, and I can't get food. I'm struggling. My car got towed. My nose is big as hell. They ain't gonna say shit. You ain't gonna find them niggas on TV complaining. Hell no. Them niggas sitting good for now.
About the experience. He's a SNAP recipient, has a chronic illness, and works 2 jobs.
I went from having...
What the fuck? Yeah, they did say it's a he. They look like a fucking she. What the... Only in America.
A little over $200 a month for groceries from SNAP funds to having absolutely nothing for 3 months. I lost weight. I ate less. I had...
Hey, man. A lot of Americans gonna be doing that. Eating less. Rationing food. Shit. Rationing water. Speaking of that... I didn't know when I was gonna get into reading something. Yeah, is this it? Nope, this ain't it. Oh yeah, Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 10. And thy meat which thou shalt eat shall be by weight 20 shekels a day, and time to time shalt thou eat it. Thou shalt drink also water by measure, the 6th part of an hin from time to time shalt thou drink. So yeah, so pretty much you gonna have to measure your food consumption and your water consumption, drinking, and even bathing. If you're gonna bathe, you might have to skip out on. You might have to be being musty
for
a while.
1.5 meals a day instead of 2 or 3.
If it ever rains one day, you can catch rain and take a shower outside for free. Yeah, yeah, if it rains long enough.
I pinched pennies. I saved food from the jobs I work at where they have free snacks. I took things home. And then when I was recertified, they renewed me for a significantly lower amount. So I now get $50 a month.
So for more on the state of food assistance in America, we are joined now by Sarah Naomi Bleich. She's a professor of public health policy at Harvard and previously worked at the USDA during the Biden and Obama administrations. Thank you so much for being here. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins and others in the Trump administration have been celebrating this decline in SNAP benefits, arguing that it's happening because the economy is better, they argue, that wages are getting better, and that they're rooting out fraud.
Yeah, and Trump said that The economy, or not the economy, inflation is great. Good numbers.
How accurate is that?
So I would say that that's not accurate, and thank you very much for having me. So there are three main reasons why SNAP caseloads would decline. One is that the economy improves, since SNAP is designed to get smaller when the economy gets better. But the economy has not measurably improved since H.R. 1 passed in July of 2025. And we can all probably agree that affordability, including high costs of food, remain an enormous challenge for families in this country. Another reason SNAP caseloads could decline is that the rules change, and as a result, eligibility is constricted. That has happened. There are stricter time limits, meaning that folks have to prove they are working 20 hours a week or 80 hours a month to receive benefits. And the number of people subject to those time limits has gone up a lot. And that greatly increases the paperwork burden, since each month individuals have to document their hours, and then the state has to certify it. And the third reason that SNAP caseloads could decline is that states take actions which contract eligibility. So states face an enormous fiscal penalty if they don't get their payment error rates under control. So that refers to how much a person is under or overpaid for their monthly SNAP benefits. As a result, some states, like Arizona, are being overzealous in their implementation of the rules, making it much harder for eligible people to obtain or maintain benefits. And at the same time, most states, including Arizona, are understaffed. So they lack the capacity to process all this paperwork. And so when a person is applying for the first time, or recertifying or confirming their hours worked to comply with the time limit, there's a 30-day deadline. Even if an eligible person submits all the required information on time, if the state does not process it by the deadline, that person is automatically removed and has to start the process all over again.
I see. What about the argument about fraud that they make, that this is, the declining numbers are because people who should not be on the system are out of the system?
So fraud is actually very low in the SNAP program. It's about 1.6%, which is actually low relative to other.
I ain't gonna play no more of this. But anyway, people having hard times, and Esau ain't looking out for their fellow Americans, but they looking out for small hat Amalek, and they ain't gonna talk about that. But all this shit is ultimately leading to them chip implants. Yeah, the mark of the beast.
I didn't believe these trades either. 80%.
On Friday, the United States economy added 172,000 jobs in May. That was more than double what economists expected. The unemployment rate held steady at 4.3%. Previous months were revised upward by over 90,000 positions. By every traditional measure, it was a strong jobs report, the kind of number that in a normal economic environment would send markets higher and make a president's communications team reach for the champagne. But instead, the Nasdaq crashed 4.18%, its worst single-day decline since the tariff panic of April 2025. The S&P 500 fell 2.64%, snapping a 9-week winning streak that would have been the longest since 1985. The Dow dropped 695 points. Chip stocks alone lost $1.2 trillion in market value. Nvidia shed $300 billion in a single session and fell well below a $5 trillion market capitalization for the first time in months. Bitcoin collapsed below $60,000, down more than 50% from its record high in October, and the CNN Fear and Greed Index swung from greed to fear in the space of one trading day. Good news just crashed the stock market, and that sentence tells you everything about the trap the U.S. economy has built for itself. My name is Elle, and I use data analysis to spot patterns in geopolitics and economics, and the pattern here is what economists call a good news in bad news scenario, and it is the most dangerous configuration an economy can be in. A strong labor market means inflation stays hot. Hot inflation means the Federal Reserve cannot cut interest rates, and if the Fed cannot cut, the entire financial architecture that has supported American asset prices since the money printing era of 2020 begins to unravel. At the start of this year, markets were pricing in rate cuts. That was the bull case. Lower rates would make borrowing cheaper, support corporate growth, justify stretch valuations, and keep the AI investment boom running at full speed ahead. Goldman Sachs forecast the S&P would reach 8,000, built entirely on the assumption that AI capital expenditure, $740 billion this year, approaching $1 trillion in 2027, would continue uninterrupted. That thesis required low or falling interest rates. Friday's job reports destroyed it. Markets are now pricing in a 67 to 82% probability of at least one rate hike by December. So not a cut, a hike. The entire monetary policy outlook has reversed in just 5 months, and every asset class priced for the old outlook is now repricing for the new one violently. If you've been following this channel's coverage of the U.S. economy, this is the moment where the feedback loops we have been documenting all converge on the same trading screen at the same time. The Iran war pushed oil above $110 a barrel. Higher oil drove inflation to 3.8% in April, the highest in nearly 3 years. Higher inflation pushed Treasury yields to 18-year highs. The 30-year hit 5.2%. Higher yields mean the government pays more to borrow on a national debt of $39 trillion. Interest payments already consume $1 trillion a year, 19 cents of every tax dollar. The deficit is projected to exceed 1.9 trillion. And now, on top of all of this, a strong jobs report tells the Federal Reserve that the economy is too hot to justify the rate cuts that the stock market was built on. The Fed is kind of trapped. If it cuts rates to save the stock market, it pours fuel on inflation. If it hikes rates to fight inflation, the stock market crashes further and the cost of servicing the national debt goes up. Both paths lead to pain. The only question is who absorbs it first, investors or taxpayers? Friday gave the first answer. Investors lost $1.7 trillion in just 6.5 hours. If you're trying to understand how to read through market data and see what the structural dynamics underneath actually show, my book Awake, the Practice of Critical Thinking, the AI narrative that has powered American markets for 2 years now. Nvidia, AMD, Intel, Micron, and Broadcom collectively lost over $1 trillion in market value in a single session. Broadcom's failure to raise its AI chip outlook on Wednesday was the first crack. Friday's rate hike signal was the hammer. The logic is very straightforward here. Building AI data centers requires enormous capital expenditure. That expenditure is financed through borrowing. Higher interest rates make borrowing more expensive. If borrowing costs rise enough, the AI build-out that justified the valuation stopped making financial sense. Ryan Dittrich, chief market strategist at Carson Group, said after the record run we've seen the last 9 weeks, the dam just broke today. Wells Fargo's Ocean Kwon added the semiconductor sector was way overbought, and the calendar ahead is stacked with catalysts that could accelerate the sell-off further. CPI inflation data lands on June 10th. The European Central Bank announces its rate decision on June 11th. The SpaceX IPO, priced at $1.8 trillion, 100 times revenue, is scheduled for June 12th. SpaceX is raising $75 billion, and that money has to come from somewhere. Funds will liquidate existing positions to free up cash.
Money coming from them printers. They just print that money out. Yeah.
Fidelity lowered the minimum investment to just $2,000, widening the net to capture as much retail money as possible before early investors cash out at peak valuation. The structure of the IPO is by design an exit for insiders funded by entrants for retail. Once again, however, these videos are not financial advice. Please do not buy or sell anything off the back of them. Meanwhile, U.S. oil inventories have dropped to 1.57 billion barrels and falling. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve is being trained at 9 million barrels per week, 2.5 times the rate Trump attacked Biden for. The Supreme Court struck down the tariff framework, triggering an estimated $160 billion in refunds to importers. Besant has to borrow that back on top of the $900 billion he already needed by October. The deficit is going up, not down. Every mechanism the administration tried to control spending, tariffs, federal layoffs, spending cuts, has either been struck down or reversed or overwhelmed by the cost of the war. Trump posted on Friday that a strong jobs report should mean stocks go up, not down. He is technically correct. In a normal economy, that would happen. But the U.S. stock market stopped being anchored to the real economy a very long time ago. Since 2020, markets have been driven by interest rate expectations and liquidity, not necessarily by jobs or GDP. Consumer sentiment hit an all-time record low, while stocks hit an all-time high. The disconnect was always kind of there. Friday was the day the disconnect became the story. In terms of what's going to happen next, the prediction is that the Federal Reserve will probably not cut rates in 2026, but once again, not financial advice. The probability of a hike will continue to rise through the summer as oil remains elevated and inflation stays sticky. The S&P 500 will not recover to its pre-Friday highs before the FOMC meeting on June 16th. The SpaceX IPO on June 12th will maybe create additional selling pressure as funds liquidate to participate. And the fundamental contradiction at the heart of the American economy, a stock market that needs low rates to survive inside an economy that produces high inflation, remains unresolved because it cannot be resolved. Both markets cannot win at the same time. Friday was the day the stock market lost. I wonder what's next, perhaps the bond market. But while the US market crashes on its own good news, Europe's institutions are quietly building the systems that make American financial turbulence somebody else's problem. I made a separate video on how the European Parliament just replaced Google.
At JM Bullion, excellent service and competitive pricing aren't just goals, they're our.
The US dollar has been the dominant global currency for roughly 100 years. However, the international financial system is changing, and the global dominance of the US dollar is eroding. Now, it's not going to disappear overnight. This is a process that's been going on for years and even decades, but it's a process that is also accelerating. And there are several reasons for this. Of course, one of the key drivers is geopolitics. The US government has weaponized the dollar and has imposed unilateral sanctions on 1/3 of all countries on Earth, especially Global South countries. And this has led them to come together in organizations like BRICS to seek alternatives to US dollar dominance, and more Global South countries are now trading with each other in their local currencies. However, this trend of de-dollarization, of the decline in US dollar dominance, is not only driven by political institutions and states, it's also being driven by investors, by business interests. And one of the other reasons, there are multiple reasons for de-dollarization. It's not just two, there are multiple factors, but one of those other factors is what's known as the debasement trade. Investors fear that with US government debt skyrocketing and with high rates of inflation in the US, the currency itself could be debased. The US dollar will lose value, investors fear. So instead, they've been diversifying and investing in other assets. And a case study of this is gold. This idea of the debasement trade is one of the main reasons why the price of gold has skyrocketed in recent years, along with the geopolitical angle, which I'll be discussing today. Again, these issues are directly, inextricably linked, the geopolitical element and the economic element. And today I'm going to be explaining how, while private investors have been piling into gold in recent years, governments have also been doing the same. And central banks have bought so much gold in recent years, and the price of gold has risen so much, that gold has now overtaken U.S. Treasury securities, U.S. government debt, as the biggest asset held.
Fuck that. I'm just going to get to the part. If you want to watch the rest of the video, they go to title or the channel. Title of the video, they go to channel. What I'm going to do, I'm going to skip to this part where it talks about de-dollarization continues. I don't know the rest of what it's saying, but I'm going to get to that part.
Moving in. And this is a point that many critics of de-dollarization and boosters of the US dollar system refuse to understand. They strawman the argument. They say that if you're arguing that de-dollarization is happening and it's accelerating, that you believe that supposedly tomorrow or next week the value of the US dollar will collapse, there will be hyperinflation like Weimar Germany, and the dollar is going to become toilet paper. I don't believe that. Most...
Huh? What you say, nigga? Everybody's supposed to say that slowly.
Dollarization and published an article titled "Prepare for a Multipolar Currency World," and that is exactly the direction that the world is moving in.
Well, like one world currency. Whatever, anyway.
This is a point that many critics of de-dollarization and boosters of the US dollar system refuse to understand. They strawman the argument. They say that if you're arguing that de-dollarization is happening and it's accelerating, that you believe that supposedly tomorrow or next week the value of the US dollar will collapse, there will be hyper...
But you never know. You never fucking know. It's not going to happen so fast. But you never know. It might just happen. Because, hey, check this out. Check this out, homie. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and get to it. Let me just go ahead and get to it. Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. Therefore, rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil, talking about Esau, Edom, so-called white man, but he's not white, he's red, he's a baby dick sucking Jewish faggot nigga. Amalek is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he has but a short time. Has a short time to rule. So this devil got to hurry up and get things going. These things start off kicking off. And one way to do, say, if you want to get closer to the chip implementing that in this digital cash, you got to get rid of the old way of buying and selling and monetary system, all that. And they probably can do it overnight. When you're sleeping, they can just crash this shit. Cyber attack. It could just start with a cyber attack. But then again, that would make cash more valuable. But then again, I don't know, man. I can tell you, man, this shit's going down. I don't know how it's going to work out, but anyway, let me let this shit play.
Inflation like Weimar Germany, and the dollar is going to...
And it will be at that worse than Weimar Germany. Shit, you won't be... What the fuck people going to realize? This shit is garbage. Matter of fact, the scriptures on that. Cast their silver in the streets. Yeah, it's going to get to that point. What is that? Ezekiel chapter 7. I'm just going to get to 18. Verse 18. They shall also go into themselves, and sackcloth shall cover them, and shame shall be upon all faces, and baldness upon all heads. And they shall cast their silver in the streets, talking about their money, because it's absolutely worthless. Yeah, there ain't going to be no using bunks of bricks of money to buy a loaf of bread. No. They're going to be just like, fuck it. It's no need of using this shit for buying. Because it's worthless. You can use it to wipe your ass off with. That's the new toilet paper. That physical currency, the damn. Or use coins. Use coins to put in a shotgun load. Yeah, that'd be your new ammunition for if you reloading shotgun shells. But that's about all it's good. All them the coins and the paper is good for. Wipe your ass or using it as ammunition. But anyway, where I left off at. Yeah, what was it? Oh, they are also cool. No, they shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. All their savings, their in retirement stocks, all that shit gonna be gone. And their silver shall be, and their silver and their gold shall be shall not be able to to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord Yahweh. You won't be able to buy your way out of judgment. They shall not satisfy their soul, neither fill their bowels, because it is the stumbling block of their iniquity. But that day gonna come, man. It's coming soon. Well, shit, this shit gonna crash.
Become toilet paper. I don't believe that.
Oh, he even said this shit gonna become toilet paper.
Perhaps there will be hyperinflation like Weimar Germany, and the dollar is going to become toilet paper. I don't believe that. Most serious analysts and scholars do not believe that.
So that's the pride of these niggas. Now, it ain't got to happen so quick, like overnight, but like in one night or 1 week or 1 month. But you never fucking know. The Lord can speed, and the Lord is speeding things up. But guess what? To me, it sounds like that shit ain't gonna happen. When it sounds like coming from him, I believe he don't think it's gonna be in that scenario, but I do, and you better get ready for it, cause it's fucking coming.
That is a straw man argument.
The Lord says so. The Bible says so. Get what? Yeah, I should believe. You should believe it. And if you don't, I don't give a fuck. You believe whatever you want to believe, nigga. But it's going down. You can't stop prophecies.
That is used by defenders of the dollar system. But in reality, what they refuse to see is that the dominance of the US dollar is indeed declining. Again, this is going to be a process that takes years, if not decades. But it is absolutely...
Nigga, please. Years or decades. This nigga retarded. Nigga, look at the state of this country. Look at the state of this world. You actually... And then they going all full on digital. Do you think they... Well, I understand and they going with the dollar. I'm always thinking about the dollar. I'm thinking about physical currency. But the dominance of America, even if they're going for a digital dollar or digital currency, even that shit ain't gonna hold enough. Because every country is already fighting one another for who gonna have who gonna be ruling the world. And none of them niggas ain't gonna rule shit. Because Jacob gonna have next after Esau's monkey ass kingdom queerdom comes to an end. This bitch ain't no kingdom or queendom, it's a queerdom. When this bitch come to an end, Jacob gonna have next. And we gonna be going back to gold and silver. But anyway, let me get back to this nigga video.
Absolutely happening, and you cannot be an ostrich and have your head in the sand. What we've seen with the rise of gold, the massive rally in the gold market, and the rise of gold now as the #1 asset held by central banks in their reserves, that is simply one example of the tectonic shifts we see in the international financial system, in monetary policy, and in geopolitics, because all of these issues are inextricably linked. And if you want to understand about the massive geopolitical and economic shifts happening in the world today, it seems like every week or every month there's another major thing happening. Make sure you subscribe to our work.
Anyway, it ain't gonna be no year or no decade, nigga. This shit is gonna be coming. I don't know. Damn sure we all gonna be fucking dead. What the hell this nigga talking about? This nigga don't know. That nigga, look at the condition of this world. People ain't gonna survive in no damn another fucking decade. Hell no. By the next decade, everybody be dead. From fucking vaccine shots or goddamn the toxic food, air, water, everything be all fucked up because of Esau. Anyway, Revelation chapter 6 verse 15, and the kings. Oh, this ain't it. This is it. James chapter 5 verse 1. Go to now, you rich men, weep and howl, for your misery shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupting, your garments are moth eaten, your money ain't worth a damn, your gold and silver is canker, and the rest of them shall be a witness against you. And shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have harbored their treasure for the last days. They taking people wealth, and they hightailing their asses somewhere safe, like in a bunker. Yeah, they trying to make you people, purposely making you people poor as hell, so you can get this chip implant. Yep. And what it's all leading to. The RFID microchip implant. Chip going your right hand or your left hand or your feet or your butt cheeks or your titty, big titty, small titty, or in your man boob. You got titty, man got titty too, and in your forehead. That be in your brain. Last video.
Well, it's easy right now to think that nothing makes sense when it comes to the economy. Everyday Americans are being told, hey, the economy is strong. If you hear from the television, the White House, everything's fine, right? You hear the same talking points. Stock market's fine, GDP is fine, jobs are fine. The experts are telling you, don't worry, everything is totally under control. Just sit back and live your life. But then you go to the grocery store, and it's a little hard to do that, right? You fill up your gas tank. You open up your insurance renewal. You look at your credit card balance, as more Americans are living off credit cards right now. You look at your mortgage payment, or worse, you look at the housing market and realize, hey, buying a home feels impossible right now. Like, how can I afford to do that? Rents are going up. So you start asking like the obvious question, if the economy is supposedly doing so well, why do so many Americans feel like they're falling behind? Like it's great for Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner that can buy their own Albanian island with beachfront property. That all seems great for them, but what about us, right? So this is the real economy, not the economy on CNBC, not the economy like in a White House press release, not the economy that's being measured by some government statistic that gets revised 6 months later, which it always does, and they're like, oh, it was actually way worse. I'm talking about the economy right now around your kitchen table. And around that table right now, millions of families are having the same conversation, like, why does everything cost more? Why am I paying 3 times more now for milk, butter, basic necessities?
Well, reason why, because you know, the wicked bear rule. I mean, they ruling. They want you to get that chip implant. They talk to me about the Lord punishing you, you heathens, and you 2/3 of Israel. That's all I can think of. Punishment, an ass whooping. And I just pray the Lord have mercy on me. Y'all better do the same thing. Whoever seeking a way out of here, seeking protection. You see the writing on the wall. Hey, Yahweh Shema Shah is your only way. So sink through seeking his prophets.
Why does our paycheck not go as far, and why does it feel like no matter how hard we work, we're still losing ground?
Since he said that, I was wondering when I'm going to get to this scripture. I read it all the time, but it's so true. It is so true. Haggai chapter 1 verse 6, ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put into a bag of holes. So that sounds familiar? Does it make a lot of sense? Well, if it doesn't, let me simplify it. You work so hard for very little money. You don't have enough for food. You don't have enough for drinking, like say water, or either bathe your butt because the utilities are high. And clothing, I mean, you stuck with them same clothes, them same shitty drawers with them holes in it. From last year to 2 years ago, you've been wearing the same damn shitty drawers for fucking 5 years. And you don't just keep rocking them damn drawers and them other clothes for a long time. Shit. And he that earneth the wages, yeah, and then you can't hardly save no money. It ain't no money to be saved. Because the money you trying to save is going to other stuff. Anyway.
Viral image just a few days ago, someone holding up, I think, a receipt from going to, I don't know if it was like Sonic or something like that. And they showed the food that they got for their family at a Sonic drive-thru, like from just 8 or 9 years ago. And it was like a third the cost. Like, what, are they getting more burgers now? Are you getting like 3 times the amount of fries? So credit card debt is still sitting above $1 trillion. Household debt is near record highs. Delinquencies are not just some abstract like Wall Street number right now. People are falling behind on car payments, student loans, credit cards, mortgages. At the same time, Washington's telling us everything's fine. Listen to Kevin Hassett come out on the White House lawn. Beautiful flowers behind him. Everything's fine. Americans are doing great. And President Trump telling all of us that, you know, Americans are happy to pay higher gas prices because of Iran. Really? I walk down the street, ask any of your neighbors, are you happy to pay 3 times more for gas because of Iran? Chances are they're going to look at you askance. And the reason it's not fine is because the system is not designed for the average person. It's designed for a very small group of powerful institutions that know how to profit from crisis. They profit from debt, they profit from inflation, they profit from war, they profit from instability, and the average American gets shafted and gets the bill. I mean, just look at the money printers, right? Since the financial crisis, especially since 2020, governments, central banks have pumped trillions of dollars into the system. The national debt, $39 trillion. Like, it seems like fake money, fake numbers. Like, how is that even possible? Try to wrap your head around $39 trillion. You can't. Back in the year 2000, it was under $6 trillion. Back when I was in high school, I remember my social studies teacher, Mr. Vogt, one of the greatest guys ever, he said, you know, it was nearing, I think, like $1 trillion at the time in like 1993. And he said, try to wrap your head around that. We all couldn't in that classroom. He probably lose his mind now, $39 trillion. Today, it's nearly 7 times the amount that it was back in 2000. And somehow the people who created this problem keep telling us they're the only ones that can fix it. Right. But every new dollar created does something very simple. It makes the dollars already in your pocket worth less. That's why I always say savers are losers.
Hey, What the heck y'all want to say? Well, it doesn't say you're a loser for saving, but you won't be able to save anything because it'll be like putting your money in a bag of holes. It's just going to run on out. You ain't going to hold nothing because it's going to your basic necessities. Hell, you'll be thinking you'll be spending your money all on frivolous things, but really you're spending your money on the basic necessities now. Shit. You can't even throw the money away to have fun. You gotta use your money to survive. If you wish life, seek the Lord, repent.
As my friend Robert Kiyosaki likes to say, every dollar you have in the bank today is worth less tomorrow. You may not notice it the day that it happens. No one's sending you a letter saying, hey, congratulations, your money is now worth less. But you feel it slowly. You feel it when the eggs are more expensive, when beef is more expensive, when electricity is more expensive, which it is.
No. Basic necessities.
Just here in Colorado, price per kilowatt hour is now up significantly. Why? When your insurance suddenly goes up again, basic family night out, going to the movies, want to go to Red Robin? Well, live large, going to Red Robin. That's not an Ivanka Trump dinner, but it's something I love in my family. But my God, look at the price. It's crazy. Go to Chili's? Oh, you're living large going to Chili's. I love Chili's. By the way, one of the best bacon burgers you'll ever have. I know it's underrated, but holy smokes, what? Why am I spending almost $200 going to Chili's? What the hell's happened here? And inflation is not some mysterious weather event. It's not a hurricane. It's not a tornado. It didn't just happen out of nowhere, natural disaster. It's the consequence of policy. It's the consequence of massive debt. It's the consequence of printing money, spending money we don't have, and then asking ordinary Americans to absorb the pain. Oh, I don't know if you saw on Thursday what happened. Congress decided to send an additional loan amount, billions of dollars to Ukraine. What? Isn't that what President Trump ran on? We're not going to send any more money to this corrupt government? But okay. Republicans in Congress decided that Ukraine needs to have billions of dollars more. Great. So this war economy is disgusting. And throughout history, war has been one of the most profitable businesses on earth. Every major conflict creates winners and losers. Germany right now, their economy is collapsing.
All right. I'm going to stop it here because I ain't got time for all this shit. Yeah, I'm scared this damn thing might crash, the screen recorder, because this is my second time I had to do a video. But this one is totally different now. I just put everything involved, money and finances all together. Yeah, and I delete some other videos. But yeah, I'm going to stop right there. It's about 50 minutes long. That's good enough. But it's just proof the shit's crashing. Seek the Lord. Here go the title of the video. They go, Shalaki. They go to title of the channel. Let me get the last scripture and I'm out of here. And then hopefully the Lord will not come back with another video. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 3, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, be it financial people, the people that keeping the house of finances up and running. Now they're just letting this shit go. Yep, because they got no choice but to, because the Lord's making them do so. So it's crumbling, trembling, it's dying, and it's going to be dead. And the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease. And the grinders cease because there are few, the workers, the jobs, it is none. And those that look out the windows be darkened. The future of America and the future of the world when it comes to money and such is dark. There's no future. It's just dark, evil, bad, negative. And the door shall be shut in the street, big business, small business closing up. And when the sound of the grinding is low, be the sound of work being brought down low. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, by the birds, or the early birds getting the worm, or the, what you call them, roosters. And then the rooster go cock-a-doo-doo. Yeah, them. Yep. Or by that alarm clock. That be the digital rooster. And all the dogs of music shall be brought low. Music suck. And movies and TV shows, some video games. Shit, some of the probably the best video games gonna be coming out late as hell. Probably gonna be coming out when the chip implant is implemented. Like Grand Theft Auto 6. And you know what's funny about that game? I ain't even seen no gameplay of that shit yet. Damn, that game's so hyped up. How come y'all ain't showing no gameplay yet? I seen some, but I wasn't sure if it really was a legit gameplay. Damn, they show all these other games of gameplay. They're supposed to be coming out around 2000. Well, they're coming out September. But damn, Grand Theft Auto supposed to be coming out in November. But there ain't no damn gameplay showing it. I believe that shit is a scam. I don't know. I think that shit is a fucking scam. It's a pre-order. They pre-ordered. They probably made a lot of money off them pre-orders. I believe that shit is a fucking scam. But Anyway, that's all I gotta say. It might not be a scam. I feel like it's a scam. They said all these years they haven't shown no game footage. They just showed you the intro, a CGI intro. That's a difference. You got CGI and actual gameplay, cinematics and shit. But anyway, that's all I got to say. Seek the Lord by seeking His prophets and take heed what it say, and try to build a spiritual mental relationship with Yahweh Shema Shah by praying Yahweh Shema Shah, praising Yahweh Shema Shah, worshiping Yahweh Shema Shah, fearing Yahweh Shema Shah, and repenting to Yahweh Shema Shah. To all the men out there pushing this truth and nothing but the truth in the name, spirit, and the power of Yahweh Shema Shah. Keep on preaching, keep on teaching, keep your faith and trust strong in Yahweh Shema Shah, and stay humble. And for you few sisters out there taking heed, keep your faith and trust strong in Yahweh Shema Shah. Stay humble, stay in order with your man. If you ain't got no man, stay in order with Yahweh Shema Shah. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect and all praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. Shalom.